My name is Swagata. Am I audible to everybody?
Yes.
Wonderful. All right, to begin with, please make sure that your microphones are on a mute to avoid any disturbance. We have a chat box which you can open and type in your responses from time to time. A little about BMS, the slide that you see in front of you is a little about us. We are an ISO 9001-2008 certified organization, and these webinars are presented by BMS, which is a division of Vinsys, and as a market leader since 2003 in soft skill and behavioral trainings. So yeah, we have scaled across a lot of sectors. We've scaled across a lot of industries. Um, we have tailor-made a lot of what do you say, training program for our clients, and we work across hierarchies. Yeah. So we also have other services like project management, IT service management, and IT governance as well, right? So today we are going to look at something called as customer experience by service design, right? So the concept of this entire service design came to me when I was studying IT service management, or ITIL as it is most popularly known. And customer centricity was something that soft skills always catered to. And whenever we looked at customer centricity, customer service, we realized that customer service is everybody's job, no matter what your job role is. And everybody needs to have a sneak peek into all the tools that are required to change or to give feedback about your services. Now, if you look at the buzzwords, like design or agile. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to come and talk to you here. Yeah. So if you look at certain these buzzwords like design thinking, agile, and all of that, you will see that these also have principles which say iterative feedback, involve your customers into things that you do. The forward-facing customer staff has a lot of inputs about customers. Yeah, so we're going to amalgamate all of this and see how we can actually create great customer service experiences. Yeah, so I'd start by showing you something that I ordered very recently. Okay, so there it is. One sec. Yeah. Most of you won't be able to see what's written on it. If you can, great. But if you see this space here, okay, this box comes from Amazon. Okay, Amazon now calls these boxes story boxes. Yeah, is everybody on the same page? Hmm. So I'm not sure how to enlarge it, but yeah, don't worry about reading or bothering with the script. It's just this image that I wanted you to see. Can anybody see it? One sec. Let me talk to my backend team a little.
Yes, we can see that.
Yeah, you can. Okay. There are some people who cannot see it. Yeah, lovely. Okay, lovely. So now this is someone who is in sitting in the remote place called Periyakulam and somewhere in Tamil Nadu. Okay, and this lady has started something from her home. Okay, the reason why I'm showing this to you is when you look at a brand like Amazon, which has gone through a lot of ups and downs, okay, no matter what you order now, especially in this pandemic, which is hitting us really badly, which is hitting businesses very badly, we have started making the changes that all of us as businesses had shied away from, or probably not thought that probably building a work from home capacity was really necessary at that point in time. But now, if you ask a lot of your stakeholders, including the employees like you and I, some would say, no, no, my job wants me to go to work every day and I love going to work every day. Please let me go to office every day. But some can say, some will definitely tell you that, you know what, I don't want the hassle of traveling 1 hour every day, 1.5 hour every day. Good for the pollution, good for the road, good, my company can save its cab money. I give me all the freedom, I'll work from home and I'll produce double the results that you want. So the example that I showed you is a classic example of when there is a shortage in goods. Now, when there is a shortage in goods, you go to Amazon pantry, you see, okay, I want cashew nuts, but this brand is not available. This is a new brand, let me try it. Yeah, making sense? We've all done that in these days. Right. So when you say that, okay, I picked up this brand, I don't know this is a new brand, you try it as a customer and you say, acha, Nice. I didn't know this brand ever existed before I ever saw it today. Yeah. So when they send story boxes in these times like this, they're actually calling more people to build up a background capacity to cater to more consumers as well. So in a way, Amazon is yelling out to us and telling us like, look, I'm not here for only specialized customers or for specialized brands. If you have a business, I'll help you market it. I want more products. I want more capacity. I have more stuff. So has any one of you tried shopping with Big Basket lately, last month or so? Anybody? Is there anybody who's tried shopping with Big Basket lately? Yeah. So what is the intermittent message that you keep seeing there? Anybody? Any messages that you saw there? Yeah, out of stock. So they show you beautiful colors and then they say out of stock. Then, which is the next intermittent message that you see? All slots full. We love to deliver all slots full. By the time you actually find a slot that is open and you quickly try to check out of there, yeah, either that slot is gone or you're left with some things that are automatically edited because they're out of stock. So when you talk about a service, it's not only one way a customer's job or a business job. Now I'm going to ask you a very simple question before we take a sneak peek. And I'm saying a sneak peek because these topics are huge when it comes to discussions, right? So before we take a sneak peek, one simple question for all of us. Would you do something wholeheartedly if you are told to do it or you choose to do it? Yeah, you choose to do it, right? No one likes to be told around what to do and all of that. So if you choose to do it, it means that you are talking about an experience which is very close to your heart, right? So let's move on and quickly take a sneak peek on how we can design the same experiences for our customers here, right? Just what we spoke about, it is about blending your customer satisfaction, reducing customer irritations, improving customer experiences, along with strengthening your business capacity. So these two have to really merge together. Yeah. So the whole staff has to be on the same page of why you're doing it. For example, when Vinsys does this webinar, we have a lot of background teams working for it. Yeah, you see my face, but then there are so many of us working behind to reach this to you, and there's a huge shout out to them because these are the people who are behind the screen working day and night, be it to sending you certain information, keeping you engaged. Yeah, and a lot of times, let me tell you that when I used to, ask for courses from Vinsys as well, a very personal experience, not because I represent it now, but I'll tell you something as a customer engagement that I face. There's a particular course that I was, thinking, kare ya na kare, do or not to do. We've all been there because there's a considerable amount of money, and when you're a freelancer, there's no organization sponsoring you. So there was this amazing business development executive, or let's say a back-end person over the phone. He said, "You know what? Don't do this." I'm like, "Are you serious? I thought you'll sell it to me because you wanted a customer." He said, "Nahi, nahi, aap ye karo hi mat. Don't do this. Do this and this. I'm telling you, this is going to help you doing this." I bought one course, I did not buy the other, but I built a relationship with them because what I felt was that probably this person understands that this person has a little more information than what I might have. Whether the person has or knows a different thing. Yeah. Probably he's just read the introduction or the syllabus of 10 other courses and he's telling me, "Ab ye nahi ye karo." Or probably that person has really studied. But when I look at it as a customer and when I see a brand telling that to me, helping me choose, I don't just stop at information, I build trust. Yeah. So if I ask you, what are the critical success factors, yeah, for creating amazing customer experiences? So you can open your chat boxes and type in there. What are the critical success factors? Now, if you feel that, okay, I'm just a front office executive, I'm telling you, you are the most important. If you feel I'm just a sales executive, I'm telling you, you also are very important. Because if you guys don't interface the customer, somebody sitting in strategy will not be able to understand why his beautiful design of services is going bad and why the customers are not really happy. Very nice. Customers should feel that their opinions matter. Very nice. On-time service delivery. Absolutely. After service. Customer communication, turnaround time, excellent. So these are a couple of common factors that you will map. We're going to look at three critical success factors when you have to look at a service as a customer as well as a service provider. Yeah. Now, if I see a couple of names here, now if I look at, let's say Bob, okay. So a lot of times during the session, you will have to step into Bob's shoes and think that you are Bob, you know. For a simple reason, I'll tell you what. I am an employee and a service provider, but I'm also a consumer who consumes other services. So you will have to look at it from both the aspects, just like, we have someone called Shashank Jadhav here. So Shashank would be someone's husband, someone's son, someone's brother, n number of roles. Just like that, the way of looking at a service is very different when you are the stakeholder and when the customer is looking at you to get help. So we're looking at it in this 1 hour because we're pressed with time for three critical success factors. One is the movement, two is the behavior, and three is the structure. So let's quickly jump in and take a sneak peek. Wonderful. I see commitment, I see satisfaction. Yeah. And trust me, all these things can be created. Let's see how. So if you look at the last line here, service design can identify exactly which actions will make a real difference versus the watermelon effect. Yeah. So watermelon effect, I tell you, I'm not putting Dunzo in bad light. Dunzo has done beautiful things for me. But Dunzo services my office area, which is 4th Road, head office area. But when I come to my home area, okay, the app says you are not serviceable, get lost. I'm like, what? I call the customer care and you know what, Dunzo is showing this. Customer care says, perfect, but we see it is serviceable. You order whatever you want, you send things. I said, but look, the app is not showing things. So they say, okay, send a screenshot, send a picture, send a this thing. So the beginning and the end is okay, but during is the main crux of the experience here. So if I'm saying that there is a challenge during, okay, again, my behavior will change in this during phase a lot of times. Yeah. For example, let's say I am a loyal customer of a bank since the last 30 years. Okay. Or let's say I'm investing in a particular mutual fund since the last 20 years. Okay. Suddenly I plan a baby, I get pregnant, and I decide that, okay, is the way I'm going to consume things change? So this is for the men and the women here. Will I be investing just like I used to before, or will it change? My priorities will change. My timelines will change. Probably I'll pull out all the money and probably I'll look for different options in that time. Or maybe I'll keep just one investment option and get rid of the rest of them. Yeah. So when you go through this entire session of another 45 minutes, you will get a sneak peek of how we dissect this step by step. Yeah. So let's see what Google has to say when we say pull ideas and don't push them.
For most companies, business is all about the product. Customer centricity flips that equation around. The whole idea is this: if we can figure out who our best customers are, and if we can find a way to build a business around them, we can potentially make more money than that usual obsession over version 2.0 of the product. Most marketing metrics have been basically product oriented. So how many units of this product did we sell? What is its market share? But today it's all about the data. And they're saying, how can we leverage this data to try to build businesses in a fundamentally different way? First of all, we have to be able to identify who the most valuable customers are. When we talk about that, we're talking about this concept of customer lifetime value. Conceptually, it's actually quite simple. If I can look at all the different activities that a customer has done with me so far, I want to project really three things. How long is this customer going to stay with me? How long is that relationship going to last? How many different purchases or other economically valuable activities will take place over that future horizon? And how valuable will those activities be? It requires data, it requires analytics, it requires just an overall organizational framework and culture that's quite different than the kinds of businesses that we conventionally think about. Google has played an incredible role of creating and facilitating this whole I'd like to believe, revolution of customer centricity. So part of it is just on the educational side, trying to create meaningful, ongoing, lasting value for their clients, for their B2B customers. And so I find it fascinating to see how different kinds of companies take on this challenge and the different barriers that they hit and the successes that they achieve.
Yeah. So if you saw this video, okay, you will get to know that your engagement with Google has also been subtly influenced in all your, journey ever since probably you got introduced to that service. So yeah, now if you look at it, we have Google Forms, we have presentations that we can make together, we have shared services that we can have. So Google has grown with our changing needs. Yeah. So one of the most important businesses or business changes, or if you look at Google, nowadays Google is like Xerox. Now, Xerox was the name of a photocopying brand, but for now, for us, Xerox is okay. Photocopying. We never say photocopying. Who says it, right? The same thing happens to Google. For everything, Google it. For everything, Google it. Yeah, it's like second nature to us. I don't know something, Google it. Yeah, I want a child's product to be done, Google it. I want this to be done, Google it. Now you will find a lot of brands which are holding hands or which are sharing their businesses with Google. Yeah, so it's been a huge revolution. So how do they maintain this capacity? How do they maintain the continuity of this service? Is by using a blueprint which looks something like this. Yeah. So each of these channels has a lot of what do you say discussions that can happen, but we're just going to take a sneak peek. Now let's say when Bob, this is Bob, okay. So when let's say when Bob goes to a supermarket, what does he expect as a customer? Yeah, he expects good ambience. He doesn't want the place to stink. He looks at, so this is the beginning. But if you look at a little bit of his background, okay, a simple question. This first thing says before, okay, a simple question before we go to this blueprint. To buy an electronic gadget, would you prefer Big Bazaar or would you prefer something like a Chroma? A Chroma, a lot of people are saying Chroma, excellent. Yeah. So even before a person interacts with your business, keep in mind that the person has ideas about how a business should behave with him or her. Okay. Now let's say you next day you go to office and your colleague comes, flaunting the particular gadget and he says, you know what, I got it in half the price. There was a sale going on. You say, what? Where? This is lovely. You tested everything is original, everything is good. And he says, you know what, there's a sale in Big Bazaar. And you're like, what? There has to be something wrong. He says, no. In fact, his product outlives your product. I'm not saying Chroma is bad, but I'm not saying Big Bazaar hasn't given us surprises as well. Yeah. So the point here, which we're trying to make is that every customer will have certain information he has or certain idea he has. After that, his actual journey will begin with you. And this is where he'll interact with you. And this is where he'll decide whether he's done with your services or if he's not wanting to buy your service now, will he probably engage with it sometime later. For example, we do a lot of window shopping, and for this very reason, you will see Myntra, Nykaa, and all of these e-commerce apps. They have something called a save for later, wish list. So when you talk about a wish list, it personalizes the experience. My wish list. One day I'm going to buy this. Even my size changes. Yeah. So I can see some people smiling at the corner of their lips, literally. But yeah, you just think of your wish list. Probably you're not buying it now, but one day you'll come back to it later. So the brands do keep a little bit of provision there. Yeah. The front stage channels. Now let's say we have a webinar and you're trying to connect and the meeting host just cannot let you in. That's your front stage channels. How do you engage with a service? And backstage capabilities. So if we spoke about the big basket example, they're a great service, but they had to build extra capabilities to support us during crisis, and they just couldn't get either the labor or so many orders that they could cater to, or even so much produce that will help them keep or maintain the continuity of their services. But some of our businesses were very agile. We said, okay, ye hai, chalo, we'll do this. We decided, chalo, वैसे भी we were doing WebEx, now we'll do online trainings. So some of us were more agile. Now you know people who had never experimented with online shopping or online payment had to do all of that when there was demonetization, and second time now when there is a pandemic. So people would say, I don't feel it is safe. Now they barely have a choice. Yeah. You will see a lot of wholesalers also, okay, um, who used to, take their payments with Google Pay, and now, okay, these people, they say, nahi, kal tak Google Pay chalu tha, now you have to pay by cash. Why? Suddenly they will come and tell you, you know what, today onwards, looking at my sales, I don't want to show it in my account. So these are the decisions wherein customers and people are changing and they're still making. Yeah. So how do you determine what are the toll gates in all of these? So what do you mean by a toll gate? A certain matrix that you say, a certain alert that you put in that shows a business impact that you've got. Yeah. So the first one is about movement. So the movement will tell you how my journey is, let's say with a service like Amazon. Is it easy for me to click on a button and buy things? Is it easy for me to probably get information about more products? Is it easy for me to, let's say if I have not received my product, is the backend team responsive enough towards me? Yeah. Next, we look at customer stories. So like we discussed, these are your takeaway points. The first is customer's experience begins even before they engage with you. Two, the beginning sets the tone of your relationship. Yeah, good, bad, very hard to do. Yeah. Past customers can be future customers. Customers' needs can change during their relationship is something that we've spoken about. For example, look at us now. Our needs pre-lockdown and our needs during the lockdown have definitely changed. The way we shop has changed and the way we consume things has changed. Yeah. Let's move on. So if you look at this diagram here, if you look at this picture, yeah, I won't call it a diagram, but this is a picture, yeah. So this is how the customer journey feels like. Imagine this is Bob, which is you. This is one business. This is, somebody's trying to transition you as a business. You have a lot of stakeholders who are, eyeing you for the change you're trying to make. And it just feels like this. Yeah, you're just praying that I hope this transition is good for dear God, for dear sake, I need my job. Yeah. So first is life cycles are the frame, they won't change. Journeys will tell you where a particular problem is happening and how to put in alerts. As and when the customer uses your product for the first time, there are certain feedback links, or the customers will tell you, people who engage with their businesses directly. This, in fact, is true for B2B customers also. Yeah, in Agile, when you say, or in design thinking, when you say take iterative feedback, this is what it means. If I am a business and I'm hiring you to probably design a software for you, my engagement with you will make sure that you reduce the cost and eliminate waste. Am I clear? Are we on the same page? Is it easy to understand? Making sense, everybody? Some yes or no?
Yes.
Lovely. Wow, that's encouraging. Right. Yeah. So now there are certain people who we work to in different channels. Now, when you say different channels, you can see my face there, but there is a background technical team. There is someone who's doing something else. There's someone who's doing something else. Yeah. So whenever you design a customer experience, map your service providers properly so that you can have different strategies and maintain the agility. Everybody's on the same page, but everybody is quickly brainstorming, and you can map this by tools like Racy, right? Everybody knows Racy chart. If not, you'll get a lot of insight in your organizations or Google's wherein your role is mapped to whatever task that you're doing. Right? Again, um, service operations very important. Those of you who are every one of us started with operations at some point in time of our careers. We're still there. So if you look at this entire journey, your front end staff can give you a lot of feedback and triggers about where your customer complaints are. You know, the moment you sit for a strategy, you talk to your front line, they'll say, "Arey sir, this is not working." You know what? This is getting me a great response from the customer. You know what? Somebody called me for this. Can you believe it? I never thought this would work. So probably they're not talking in terms of strategy there, but they're talking in terms of constant feedback. So when I was doing ITL 3, and there was this subject called as service design, a complete dedication to this, and customer experience management. Those of you who've explored it would know they have a proper beautiful diagram which says every feedback will go from operations into the transitions, then to the service design. But then this is a very long cycle. Now, if I say one of you asked me that, you know what, I really like this webinar, but I want to see the whole catalog of what BMS does and why is service design a part of BMS? Because here we're talking customer centricity, customer behavior, influencing their experience, which we will do more in an 8-hour or a 16-hour program. You would realize that every aspect of services and of customers have a lot to do with personalizing the service. I can't make a software which my customers cannot use. Yeah. So these will keep a lot of times, if you look at it, a customer and a user are different. So people from the this thing, what do you say, the software background or the development background would understand this very clearly, or even some from the um, manufacturing background, but basically the IT background. Okay, so let's say I'm a bank, you are a business who develops software, and I tell you, please develop this software. I want to do this for my customers. But am I the one who's going to use it? No. The people who are like us is going to use it, who are sitting there, who are going to log in every morning into that software and probably try working with it. So these people will be your ultimate users. Am I making sense here? So sometimes the users and the customers are different. So the user may not directly pay for your service. Everybody on the same page here? Sounds a little complicated, but that's what we do most of the time. Yes, lovely. Yeah. Next, so your customers will go through these three phases. Okay, so these three phases will help to build and maintain trust. Yeah, so if you go to an e-commerce site like Myntra, okay, the first one is the customer needs are the what of the services. So I decide this is what I can give to my customers, and the customers log into that site, they find me, okay, they expect. We expect Cadbury to behave in a particular way. We expect Maggie to behave in a particular way. But if you look at the journey of Lay's very closely, there's been a beautiful takeover, because earlier there was a trend, in all the events and all the beautiful big things they said Pepsi was amazing. That was the drink that makes you cool. Chips are the best things you can give to kids. Later on, with the health and the nutrition coming up, suddenly people realize, oh my God, too much of anything is bad, but I don't want to, have that product. That's not making me cool. And if you look at the business, they slowly went into Quaker oats as well. Now, the people who thought oats was healthy suddenly said, oh wow, my brand understands my entire, journey. It wants me to be healthy. Now, this journey was strategically very important, but as a customer, I had access to it. It enabled me to buy that product. And as a consumer of oats, I had a brand which I had already interacted with. So information will support decision making. So make sure the information is complete and the information is given to the customers whenever and however they want it, as much as you can. If you look at all the e-commerce site, when you click on a product, it says read more. It gives you, what is in it or what it can be used. Some customers just buy products which they don't even know how to use. I'm sure all of us have done that. Read the instruction manual and said, oh, let me see how this is. Whether you like it or you engage in it is a different story altogether. Yeah. And the third is the transaction. So if you look at information and interactions, okay, if you enable these, make these really strong, your transactions with your customers, which are the critical aspects, simple things like not only making payments but also service delivery, you can say, will actually improve. So the business errors are going to go down. You won't have the watermelon effect again. Then the second one we're moving on to is the structure. Okay, now, structure is the different ways in which we view a service as an experience, as an as an engagement. So, if you look at this, you have customer channels, you have organization structure, and you have your business. So, let's say I don't get a delivery from Amazon, okay, and I'm going to go back to the customer call center, sorry, customer care center, and I'm going to tell them, look, I didn't get my this thing back. If Amazon says, I understand, we know we are tracking your product and it will be there with you in another 2 days. If you wish, you may cancel, but I really want to be there for you. Okay. Versus a person says, you know what, if you don't receive your product, what I'll do is I'll look for it for 7 days. After 7 days, if I receive your product only, then I'll give you a refund. Would you like that kind of an engagement with your service? Absolutely not, right? You want the service to trust you. You want the service to tell you that, look, if you've not received the product, we'll give you a refund right away and we'll cancel it right away. I want that. I don't want someone to tell me that, acha, dekhte hain, if you don't get it, I'm not giving it. So these are the triggers, which we're talking about in this kind of a setup. And here, a person is not at fault. It's how the business structure is how the organizational structure is, and it's where they're getting approval from. So it's like an whole organization is, engaged in taking a decision that makes us go, wow, as a customer. So this is what we spoke about. So I'm going to quickly skip this slide wherein we talk about the user and the customer being different. So customer life cycle is where the customer is paying. Let's say I'm the consumer of chocolate, but today I might want to eat Dairy Milk. Tomorrow I might want to eat Toblerone. But here, these two, okay, are very, very different besides this, because here as a consumer, I have different ways. Is somebody's mic on? Can we mute it? Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah. This, as a consumer, I'm a consumer of chocolate. But as a customer or as a user, I might be loyal to a particular brand, right? Now let's see this. Now when you looked at this entire thing, let's see if you can relate it to this amazing video. Hope this brings a smile to your face as well. Hopefully it plays. Yeah, it does.
Hello. आप यहाँ आए किस लिए? आज आपने बुलाया इसलिए आए हैं तो काम भी बताइए। ना पहले जरा आप मुस्कुराइए। मुस्कुराने की ना कोई बात है। आज देखिए तो क्या हसीन रात है।
भारतीय एक्सा ने बदला है सुरक्षा का नजरिया अपनी डेडिकेटेड क्लेम्स हैंडलर से।
आप यहाँ मेरे घर पे? अब आपके क्लेम सेटलमेंट प्रोसेस को सरल बनाने में हम आपकी सहायता करेंगे।
तभी तो एक्सा दुनिया के बेहतरीन इंश्योरेंस कंपनियों में से एक है। 57 देशों में 10 करोड़ से भी अधिक कस्टमर्स के साथ भारतीय एक्सा, सुरक्षा का नया नजरिया।
I hope a couple of you are smiling. This is the way traditionally business was done, and look at us, where have we reached now? When this entire wave of call centers came in, when this entire wave of digital disruption has come in, when this entire wave of digitization has come in, we thought people will lose jobs, but no. Today the banks are like, you know what? You want to change your password? There is a link down there. Go and change it. It's been automated. You want to take a picture? There is a camera. You come to the bank or probably go on the site. You stand straight. There is a camera who will detect you. All the AI ML thing that's going on. Quickly, we'll take a picture. We'll scan it, and at actuals, it's done. Yeah. So this is exactly what we are saying. When you have to change a customer's experience, is the whole service dynamic that you're exchanging. And not everybody will require a lot of money to do that. Trust me. Some changes are simple. Some changes are beautiful. Yeah. So this is exactly what we're talking about. A small improvement, something like if you look at the thing, passport offices, I'm sure most of us have been there. Earlier, get this, get that. Even today, it's there. But there at actuals, you'll see people have automated a lot of things, and you go and stand in front of the camera, they take a real-time picture of you, and then they compare. So sometimes a lot of us have absolute hideous photos on our passports, and because we were in the long queue there and we were sweating it out, maybe. Yeah. I see some people probably have smiled because I am someone who suffered that. But then at least, when they look at me when I'm back from a business trip, when they look at me, they're like, okay, maybe it's the same chick. At least, there's no changes that I've done to my face with the phone or whatever. Yeah. So let's look at certain business capabilities. Now, what are capabilities? Capabilities are something that happens in the background. So the first is your people, their experience level, their education. Second is, what are the policies that are there? Are they really customer supportive? 3 is the procedure, the process, sorry, not the procedure, the process. Are you, now, this process, hold this thought in your mind. I have a little, 30, 40 seconds video that I have to show you. Sometimes we're so stuck in following the process that we realize that the customers really dumped us for doing that. And it may be necessary. But if you look at your data says best process to follow. This is what it should do. But if you look at it from a customer's point of view, they're like, whatever, just get it done. Yeah. So there goes. Again, your procedures. What are your standard operating procedures? Are you allowed to make certain changes, small changes? Like some of you, if you're working in change management, you know there are standard changes, there are exceptions, there are things which you need approvals for big stuff. Yeah. Then what are the best practices you're following? Yeah. So best practices is going to be your competence, your knowledge, your mapping of certain things. Are you taking meetings? Are you taking iterative feedback? Are the brainstormings happening? Is everybody's ideas expected? So many things. So each of these things, guys, which we are quickly skimming through, is a topic of huge discussion. And everything, when you are in a session with us or when you are in a consulting process with us, we do this experientially, sitting together in a classroom. We decide what are the critical success factors. We look at a proper grid. We see how we can map them. We see, let's say now I'm not responsible in mapping it, but how can I influence a particular policy or a procedure? How can I tell my management that, this is my roadblock, and that is why, as a salesperson, I cannot sell your product. I know that you've given me a target, but this is what my customer is saying. So how do we reach that to the management? Yeah. Then you have your certain systems. So if you see this last diagram, yeah, all of us have now become IT enabled services. We need IT like the background. So how are the systems integrated in HR? How are the systems integrated in finance? How are the systems integrated in the business processes? Very key stuff. If I'm getting an automated, for example, the other day I did not get milk, and one of my friends said, you know what, this app, go to this app, they will give you milk when nobody else is giving you milk. Okay. So it was a very exciting phase for me. So when I said it's a very exciting phase for me, I did go to that app. Now, no matter what happens in the rest of this world, this app tells me every single evening, don't worry, you're going to get your milk. Wow. And in beautiful language, like an automated SMS, it comes in. Then it tells me every morning, you know what, at 4:18 or 4:20, your delivery boy sanitized his hand and all of that. Like I really care about it, but no, it will tell me. So when the news says 3 days shut lockdown, this app very sweetly sent me an automated message saying, wow, you know what, no matter what, we are going to deliver to you. Feels really good. Next morning, I look at the door and the milk is really there. Wow. Promises kept. But if you look at it, this is constant engagement. Yeah. Then let's move on to this. So whatever I'm talking about, if you just look at this video, okay, it is a very short video, and I want you to relate it to whatever we spoke about, okay, as we move towards certain tools. After this, we're going to take a sneak peek. Yeah, so hope you enjoyed the video, and what did you gather from the video? So looking at the whole conversation we had in the last about half an hour, so those of you who could see the video, what could you gather from it? Any observations? Who was irritating? So the process was followed. The customer was irritated. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. There is someone called Parsha, lovely observation. He was following SOP. Yes. Too much process oriented. So do you mean we dump the processes? Not at all. Great customer service, is it? He was doing what he was told to do. His empathy, his listening skills, his everything was in place. Even his soft skills were in place. But look at the customer. Yes, Sushila. Sometimes the process becomes more important than the customer, and the customers leave us thinking we don't understand them. The process needs to serve the customer, absolutely. So if you go back to the critical success factors that we spoke about at the beginning of this webinar, you would understand this is exactly what we were talking about. So Mr. Bean that he is, yeah, behind the expectation of delivery, yes. So yeah, so the earlier slide you saw about merging your customer experiences with your processes and the capabilities is something like this. Okay. I'll tell that to you later on. I'll check it out and I'll tell it to you. Yes, give them what they need, not what you want to give. Lovely. Thank you so much, Ritesh. That's love, actually. Okay. So the third of the critical success factors is the behavior. Like we said, there are product-driven behavior. For example, I'm a chocolate consumer, so I'm looking at the product. Two, they're brand-driven behaviors. Now, I love noodles, but if a lot of us, love Maggie, not because it's the most exotic one that's there on the planet. It's just that we used to it, we like it, we love it. There are other brands who have not done as well as Maggie, but if you happen to try them, you might like them once in a while. Those are brand-driven behaviors, like Xerox karke dena kind of a thing. And then there are service-driven behaviors. If you look at all the e-commerce app, yes, the product quality is absolutely important, but how they treat you as a customer, because you cannot see them, is also all the more important. Are they taking returns on time? Are they charging you for the returns? Are they letting you try before you pay? Is there a cash on delivery? What if you don't get it? There's so many insecurities that you as a customer will go through. So you will adopt one of these behaviors. So yeah, so if you look at this diagram, this is called the behavioral economics. The first one is, let's say this is Bob, our customer. Okay. These are the employees and the actors which we mapped in the RACI, which are influencing this man here. And this is the factor, like, let's say, the pandemic, which is impacting Bob and his consumer choices. Here, we're looking at the engagement bit, which is a brand image, relationship, service, products. All these have a lot of subcategories that we'll talk about. And this is your business capacities. So going back to the video, you'll be able to make sense of all of these together. Now, this is a very common case study, most often used in Six Sigma. How many of you have heard the story of the car not enjoying vanilla ice cream? So when I say we're talking of iterative feedback, okay, yeah, no? So I'm sure that you will enjoy this, because when you say that customer feedback is very important, sometimes the feedback will not be, very much as you like an SME would like to hear it. It might sound really weird. Now let's check this video. It's a short one. Yeah, you did, Parshuram, lovely. So you can tell us the takeaways from this then later on. There goes. Back to the video. There. So till now, all clear? This point at division got an email or got a letter saying that my car hates vanilla ice cream. So if you were someone in the manufacturing unit, what would you say? Would you take it seriously? You would be like, what is point at not to do with vanilla ice cream? Yeah. So now see how a customer complaint has to be literally probed into. So all the probing skills, consumer skills, and all the probing skills, questioning skills, and all will come into the play here. Yeah. So watch what this company actually did. Guys, the way you write emails is also very, very important, all right? So if you can't word your complaint clearly, it's a high probability that the customer service department is not going to understand what went wrong with your complaint. Yeah, so now I won't interrupt you. Now so what's the takeaway from this video? So now, mapping a customer's experience and personalizing the service takes a lot more than certain bookish parameters. The investigation has to go really beyond what your imagination can think. So, yeah, absolutely. Don't underestimate the smallest problem ever. Thank you, Satish. Plus, again, you'll also have to understand the way the customer is looking at your problem is not the same way that you are looking at a problem. Explaining the problem, absolutely. But what if the customer cannot explain the problem? Probably I'm a layman, I don't understand vapor lock. But you as an expert can actually probe, ask more questions, and use your listening skills. Yeah. Absolutely. Now, getting into the customer's shoes may mean, now in this case that you saw, why, when I picked this example up, I did it very, deliberately because you'd understand when you say, I need to step into the customer's shoes, sometimes you in a department or as a department would require to hold or to collaborate with many other departments in order to facilitate this kind of an probing or this kind of an investigation as to why this customer segment is going through certain things. So you will have to understand that linking or provide or creating links between certain departments who are involved in the end-to-end delivery of that product is very, very important. So you need to talk to each other. Healthy competition is good, but if you're not going to talk to each other, you are eventually going to lose a lot of business. Yes, thank you so much, Munira. Effectively communicating with the customer, active listening. Again, let's move on. Let's quickly look at certain takeaways. Yeah. So here, what you do during the customer's journey is you help them to decide sometimes if you have multiple products or a range of products like Vinsys does. Two, make sure that they have a great start, that you are easy to talk to, you're all there. Now here is where you will need a lot of customer experience management. By the way, we have a separate segment or a separate training program which talks about customer experience management, and it comes here at the during phase, because what you think is the journey which is going straight, the customer is going to have a lot of ups and downs. And third is how do you close the contract. Now let's look at, so in all these phases, if you look at this is the Kano model. So here you can keep mapping during. When you say deliver what's expected, you can talk about, have we given just the basic? For example, if I've sold a phone, it is making calls, but does my customer only expect calls? No. He wants WhatsApp, he wants Zoom, he wants video linking, he wants Facebook, he wants whatever on his phone. And that's his basic need now. But when I say performance, wow, it is continuously delivering great service. And when we talk about excitement, if you look at certain products, like what is the difference between Apple products and Android products? Both of them are not bad, but they're designed for very different customers. And if you look at it over and above, a lot of Apple products have business class customers, which means that they can also, tie up with other services like lounge accesses, airport lounge accesses, this lounge access, that lounge access, not as something that is a, privilege. They make it sound like a privilege, but if you look at it from the customer's point of view, it is actually the basic need. If this person is traveling back to back on a lot of his customer engagement, this person is a frequent flyer, this person will need a lounge access to probably relax between two flights. Yeah. So that's how you look at this entire Kano model and certain parameters which will again differ from business to business. So let's quickly summarize the whole webinar, and then I'll quickly take you through the tools that you can use. Okay, so first is a deep understanding of who is acting upon the customers, how many departments are working, are they in sync? Two, what does the customer want? And three, like the customer's experience was different when pre-lockdown and the customer experience is different post-lockdown. Okay, again, next is you go and map all of these observations in a proper, in a proper grid, which we will look at certain tools. Three, design or develop certain elements that move customers and move their decisions in a simple flow. For example, the milk thing that I was talking about, I won't name the brand, but if you look at the milk thing that I was talking about, if you talk about their customer engagement, we can change the amount of milk every day if I want to change it. So today, if I had a monthly plan, a monthly subscription. Today I don't want 1 liter, I need half a liter. I just have to go to the app, press the minus sign, and they no questions asked. They actually do it. And you can actually, prepay, put some money in the wallet, and every day they deliver milk, it is cut. If they don't deliver, money is not cut. Yeah, so make this experience smooth and beautiful for the customers as well. Now, design the experience after first use. So you will understand patterns of customer behavior. You will understand patterns of business behavior. Yeah. Ensure that the entire, whoever, whichever department, your team, the stakeholders have a complete view. They have a shared view and a common goal of where you're trying to take this customer journey to. Yeah, because not all journeys are going to be same. Now the buzzword, how to be more agile. One, have separate strategies for information interaction transaction. Two, these changes need to be moved at a different speed. So information moves at a much higher speed than the transaction. If the transaction and the information speeds are same, the customers are going to get confused, irritated, they're not going to use your service. I hope I'm making sense here. Yeah. Three, fix informational needs right away. It will help you transition smoothly through the other phases. So now quickly, let's take a sneak peek into the tools. Hope the pictures are self-explanatory. Then we'll keep 5 minutes for questions. Then the first tool is customer profile. So if you look at this diagram here, you say you have different matrices. Now this matrix is different for every customer segment, for every business. So, this, manager level people will need this. Manufacturing level people will have, a preference towards subjects like 5S or let's say lean or Six Sigma, whereas IT people will have more of a preference to agile, to design thinking, to something of that sort. Yeah. These are your customer profiles. Two, customer insights. How to gather customer insights is not just by the picture that you're seeing, interviewing technique. This is one of the techniques, but there are many more. And remember the Kano model, you're going to map these customer journeys. So here it says online, call center, retail, mobile. However, you can use different parameters as and how relevant for your business. And if you ask your business, they will have certain parameters. So even if you are a frontline executive who is in his first job and who is in his first month, by understanding how these things are or what are the factors that impact your business can make you a better salesperson, can make you a better customer centric employee basically. Yeah. So here you can have on the left hand side, you can have different parameters. And if you look at the horizontal line, that is what is very important. How was the customer aware? How did he get the information? How did the customer join? Was the transaction simple? Was the using of your services simple? Was there hand-holding done? How did you develop or make changes as and when required? And why did the customer leave? Remember, if you can stop a customer, great. But if you can't, it is learning to retain 10 other customers so you know that you don't make the same glitch again. Next tool. This is very simple. This is very common. Customer life cycle. So in the customer life cycle, you have profitability and you have time. Two very most frequently used words in the business. So you have acquisition of the customer, the conversion of the customer, the service cost, the growth, and the time to maintain the customer mapped in profitability and time. And this will be different because if you look at Netflix, if you look at Amazon, if you look at the video quality, as soon as the pandemic hit, as soon as the need for internet grew, these companies quickly changed their picture quality and their bandwidth. Quickly. And here, there was no one sitting on top of the strategy to doing this. This was a whole organization that was engaged in doing this, right? From the customer care executive to someone who's into designing a product or a service, at actuals. And again, when you do this, make sure that your department knows that there is a change. A lot of times, here is the biggest gap. You make a change to the service and you just surprise your staff saying, wow, aaj se ye hoga. And this is the worst, feeling that you can give your employee. Remember, your employee is also an internal customer. So internal customer experience management, more motivated customers, better business. Cross-channel views, how many channels is Vinsys accessible to you in? Yeah. So won't speak much here, self-explanatory, but this will help you map the customer experience or a customer life cycle from where it is to where you want to take it. For example, now the kind of online, training inquiries we are getting is huge as compared to pre-lockdown. But we all as human beings know, and you'll have our participants, at least I have my participants texting me, pinging me on Instagram, telling me, what, class training is better, we get to do things together. But having said that, they'll all join just as enthusiastically as you have done today, and thank you so much for it. The last but not the least, understand service scenarios. See where the customer touch points are, and then go ahead and map it. Okay. When you do all of this, make sure that the last but not the least, you map the organizational impact. The business impact is the bottom line, is the end result, why this whole thing is being done in the first place. So here you will have your channels, and in the lower thing it says business impact. So here there are generic tier terms like sales, operations, support. So you can put in your own tailor-made thing. So when you come to us for a session, we make sure that we help you map these things in different parameters. Okay. If the data is too sensitive or confidential, we help you understand a tool which you can go back and probably run. In fact, we can even design one like that for you. And I'm not boasting, we have done that before, right? So here, this is our customer iteration. How can we do better? So before we go to the feedback, quick question. Any questions, and has this entire webinar helped in some way to some of you at least? Yeah. So I see a lot of people. Before you leave, this is the feedback